Greetings and welcome to the podcast. I'm Pete Lorimer, former hit record producer and now owner of LA's most creative boutique real estate firm, PLG Estates. On the podcast, you will always find business and real estate strategies, marketing techniques, and tips for the entrepreneur. So make sure that you hit that big, fat, juicy subscribe button. On today's podcast, I'm going to be going over an ethos that is one that came to me over the evolution of trial and error and more than my fair share of School of Hard Knocks diploma. Rather than me just blurting out what the 4 cornerstones are, why not just kick back, get comfortable, and join me on the Creative Entrepreneur Podcast.
I am ridiculously pumped today. Ridiculously pumped. There is so much to go through. I'm feeling ridiculously optimistic. What I wanted to do for today was to take it back to brass tacks, as we say in England, not T-A-X, but T-A-C-K-S, brass tacks, which refers to the very fundamental structure of how to build a business. Because when there is so much kind of, what could appear to be chaos going on when it's actually not chaos. And I actually think those of us who have a value add system, you're going to hear me say this over and over and over again. Those of us that have a value add system for our business will prevail, not just survive, we will flourish. And I'm going to lay it all out on how we can do that. I'm just going to continue to keep bringing you how you can add value to you, yourself as a business owner and your clients. Okay. I want to get into the 4 cornerstones of running your business. Because for me, if the cornerstones are not sound, if they don't have enough, if the mix isn't right, if there's too much sand in the cement, ultimately the house will crumble. Now, I want to go through some of these kind of more structural items that I have used for years and years and years to help me build several businesses that have been successful, right? So the 4 cornerstones of business are really simple. I really encourage everybody to write these down. I love digital. Case in point is this. I'm in the digital world right now, but there is nothing like writing down your feelings and your thoughts and your strategies with your own hand so that you can refer back to them later. But there's just something that the universe seems to recognize when we put pen to paper about our thoughts, plans, goals, dreams, whatever it is, that really just, that's the one thing that does not seem to translate in the digital realm. When I'm making notes on my Apple Notepad, which I do all the time, it's great, but it just doesn't have the weight it doesn't have the clarity that it does when I write in a paper book. Let's get to cornerstone number 1. Cornerstone number 1 is confidence, self-belief, your story, authenticity. Because when you are in the business of selling residential real estate, right? Most people tuning in right now are involved in real estate in one shape or another. When you are in the business of selling residential real estate, number 1, it's an uphill battle because number 1, the clients already, for the most part, are suspicious of us, right? Real estate agents don't have the greatest reputation on the planet. So if we are going into our initial meetings and we're pretending to do something or learning a script or mimicking the way someone else works, for me, that just does not, number 1, it doesn't feel legitimate. I don't feel like I'm selling myself. Therefore, I can't be as confident or have as much self-belief if I'm trying to purvey something I'm not, or trying to convey something I'm not. So confidence, self-belief, your story, what is your story? Your authentic self and your vulnerable self must be front and center, because self-belief, your story, authenticity, and vulnerability fuel the real you, which means you can walk into any meeting bold as brass, make a great impression because it's you. I've always done listing presentations in a really bizarre way, but I do them in a bizarre way because it feels right to me. I really enjoy how I do them in a bizarre way. And I'm super engaged and bold and this and that and this. If I'm thumbing through somebody else's script, it's just not me. So therefore, my confidence, my first cornerstone of business, is already eroded. So the chances of my business, my house, my building staying up are slim. Okay, cornerstone number 2, people, please write this down. You already know what this is. Execution. Once you have a plan, how do you execute it? Execution is everything. This is why I am a huge believer about time blocking, right? If you time block your day doing the same thing every day, not that it's mundane, but doing prospecting from 9 to 11 every single day, and then following up with leads from 3 to 4. If you do the same thing every single day, your execution becomes better and better and better and better. Far too often what I see in real estate is we kind of crack open our book on a Monday morning and we go, okay, what have I got to do today? That's terrible, because we are reacting to our week and not acting. If we act, if we plan, if we execute, the results are exponentially better. What systems are you using? Are we scribbling it all down in a notebook? Are we just, kind of putting it all into our iPhone and doing this and hoping for the best? Are you perfecting your skills? This is massive, and this all falls into execution, because perfecting your skills comes from tracking your data. When you are using systems, I'm a huge fan of social media. When I use social media, I watch who's looking at what reactions I get, who's engaging at what, who's not engaging, what campaigns work, what campaigns don't work. It's the same if you're doing postcards. Not that I think that kind of thing is effective anymore. But if you are using a system like Contextually or Top Producer or all of these systems that track results, you must adjust your skill set or your navigation by your results. Otherwise, every day we're getting up and what are we doing? We're reacting to our business and not acting in it. Now more than ever, as there is this massive shift in our industry, it's like going into battle, right? It's like if you go into battle and you're like, well, I'll just grab an axe and I'll get a sword and I'll be all right, and you'll kind of launch in there, and somebody comes at you with swinging one of these things and you've got no gun, you're done. So working on your systems, perfecting your skills, what works in a listing presentation, what doesn't work in a listing presentation, making mental notes and then writing that down. Okay? It's endlessly polishing the stone. This is something I have done my entire life. When a system is working and it's great, I just have this innate feeling of how can I make it better? Even if it's working perfectly, I want to make it better. I'm obsessed with trying to reach perfection. Okay, cornerstone number 3 is longevity. Patience. We start and then we stop. We don't get the results in 3 months that we hoped for, so we bail. We start doing expired listings. We give it a month and then we bail. Then we go onto probates and then we bail. And then we go onto Facebook campaigns and then we bail. And then we maybe do some videos and then we bail. Longevity is everything. Staying the course, giving it everything. And as Seth Godin says, going through the dip. There will be those dark moments. Lord knows I've had plenty. I'm human. People think that I'm this kind of superhuman, caffeinated monster that just keeps going. I'm not. I have dark moments where I'm like, is this working? Is it not working? And I feel that guttural, I should really jump and do something else. But I don't. I stay the course because that little intuitive voice that speaks to me says, keep going. right? Keep going. Now, you don't keep going in like Custer into the valley of death, but we keep going when we believe in a strategy that is working, when we find some white space that nobody's in. It's a scary space. It's a scary place to be. But I'm here to be that hand on your back to say, what have you got to lose? You're not going to lose clients. You're not going to lose business. You're not going to lose anything. But the fear of failure seems to stop so many people in their tracks. And I'm here to say, I have faith. For every success I've had at least 99 failures. The last cornerstone, and potentially the most important cornerstone in business, is a bizarre one. It's gratitude, right? And I don't mean in some kind of like ethereal, ippy-dippy kind of, oh, let's go to the beach at sunset gratitude. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I like a bit of that myself. But I'm talking about when people want to work with you naturally. That's gratitude. Here is one that's twisted for you. Being grateful for when things go wrong. Let me repeat this. Being grateful when things go wrong. I have learned this from another part of my life. You know what? I'm just going to say it right now. Many of you out there know this. And if you don't know this, it's a very big part of my life. I've been sober for 17 years and I have learned to keep my head out of expectations. I keep my head out of being a victim. And I learned that from being in a program where I'm sober, and I'm full of gratitude for that program. But what I have learned to do is keeping my head out of expectations, because expectations are toxic. When you go out with someone, or rather when you go on a listing presentation and you're in front of someone, you think you got it and you didn't get it. You're like, screw them. I hope their house burns down. No, I'm going to ask you and advise you to do the following. When someone else gets that listing instead of you, you internally digest and believe the following statement. The agent that got that listing needed to get that listing at this point in their life. I don't know why that is, but that's what the universe has kind of decreed. Keeping in gratitude, not to mention, I live in Los Angeles. I have 3 beautiful children. I live in the United States of America, the best country in the world. I'll always have food on my table. I'll always have shelter. I'm not going to be fighting a political regime that's going to come and shoot me for not believing in what they believe in. I've already won. Every single day of my life, I am in gratitude. And the final phrase I will finish with is this. And I learned this from my lovely wife, my lovely Mrs. Cindy, who is a Buddhist and has been a Buddhist since birth. She was born in Saigon, escaped the war and came here in 1978. She has taught me the value of her belief system, which is this. I remain in gratitude, and wherever I am in my day and in my life, I realize I am exactly where I am meant to be, and I am grateful for it. I never play the victim. I never play, why didn't I get mine? I wake up with my eyes open and I stare at my beautiful children. I know I've won, and the rest of it is gravy. Now, whether this means I end up being vice president of the United States, I can't be president because I wasn't born here, or it means I end up driving a school bus. Either one, I'm fine with, because I am full of gratitude. Have you noticed there is one thing I have not mentioned? I never mentioned money once. I never mentioned it once. Goals, dreams, I love them. I've never mentioned money because I don't want to just sit here and be driven by money. I'm driven by ambition. I'm driven by risk. I'm driven by working with people that I genuinely love, care for, and adore, and would want to work with them side by side if we were washing dishes somewhere in a restaurant. I am driven and I'm full of gratitude for what is bestowed upon me every day. I don't want to get too far off in the universe here, but I do believe in something bigger than myself that drives me, and I listen to that voice, right? And it's guided me, and it's what got me sober, and it's what kept me sober. My wife's never seen me drink. My children have never seen me drink. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to just go through the 4 cornerstones: confidence, self-belief, your story, authenticity, vulnerability, execution, your plan, your systems, perfecting your skills, and tracking your data, longevity, having patience, staying the course, giving it everything, going through the dip, the darkness, and gratitude, staying out of expectations, believing in abundance, believing in something greater than yourself. And when you don't get what you want, you realize that you are exactly where you're meant to be and that someone else needed to get it instead of you on that day. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for staying with me. I really appreciate you guys being there. Lots and lots of love to you all. If anybody needs anything, ping me. You can hit me up whenever you want. Any questions, any thoughts, you can text me. You can smoke signals, whatever you need. And I will look forward to seeing you all again. Adios.
That's about it for this episode. Thank you so much for being here and for being part of the rebellion. Feel free to comment and like and share this podcast with someone else that might get value from it. And I will see you all next week on the Creative Entrepreneur Podcast.